The ultimate guide to overcoming procrastination as an entrepreneur. If you want to make an easy job seem mightily hard, just keep putting it off, by Olin Miller. I love that quote because when you break down some of the things that we're putting off, we look at it and see, man, it's not really that hard. It's just all in my mind. It's just all in my head. I just don't feel as confident as I want to be before I get started on the thing, whatever the thing is. Believe it or not, when you stop and look at the next task that's on your to-do list, and even more specifically, the next task that you're putting off, that you're procrastinating, if you break it down to the smallest of steps, you'll see that you made that step 1,000 times. So for me, sometimes, I'll be honest, I may procrastinate on doing podcast episodes. But here's the thing. I've plugged up my computer 1,000,000 times. I turned on this mic 1,000,000 times. I turned on this camera 1,000,000 times, and I've spoken, right, to the camera, to people, whatever it is, about these topics again 1,000,000 times. So I've done it before. And all I need to do is just ask myself, what's the next small thing that I need to do in order to make this goal happen? And again, you'd be surprised how easy it is. So that's what this podcast is all about. How to stop procrastinating, right? How to overcome procrastination as an entrepreneur. And before I go into these steps, make sure you subscribe to this podcast. So the first main point is something that I use by far the most. So I have a community that I'm building. And what I would do within this community, if I'm ever procrastinating on doing a webinar with them, is that I will make a public announcement. I will tell them via email that on Thursday at 7 p.m., I'm doing a topic on this. I'm doing a webinar on that. And what I'll do is I'll put that email out there before I've even started on this webinar, literally before I even open up the PowerPoint slides and all that other stuff. Now, why do I do that? Well, it's because I'm putting pressure on myself intentionally. A lot of people run away from pressure. A lot of people run away from stress and anxiety. But those three things, pressure, stress, and anxiety, those things will ensure that you take action, because who wants to fail? Not this guy, and definitely not you. So what I want you to do, and this is the main point that I want to make here, to overcome your procrastination, start to make your commitments public. Tell people, whether it's your best friend, your email list, people at your job, whatever it is, tell them what you're planning to do and when you're going to do it. And that last part is big. Tell them when you're going to do it. Because if I say, hey, I'm gonna do a webinar, well, that could be next week, next month, next year, whatever. And as a result, I can escape the pressure, stress, and anxiety. We don't want to do that. We want to welcome it. We want to use it the same way rockets use all these explosives to get the rocket up into the air, into the space, if you will. Like, there's a lot of combustion that happens at the bottom of that. And we want to do that the same way with our anxiety, stress, and pressure. So make your commitments public. The second one is a classic one, but it's one that a lot of people skip because they think they can do it themselves. The second point, you need to find a coach that can hold you accountable with the goals that you're setting. So right now, I have two types of coaches. I have a coach for business and I have a coach for my Facebook ads. Now, a new coach that I'm going to be getting in the future, and you know what? I'm going to hold myself accountable on this podcast. So by May 1st, I will have a new coach for my YouTube channel, okay? You see how I just made that commitment public? By May 1st, I'm going to have my YouTube coach. Now, when you have a coach and you're making these things public, they can hold you accountable for whether or not you did the thing. Now, if you don't do the thing, so let's say it's creating a podcast, right? By, let's say, next week. If you don't do it, the coach can actually ask you, what got in your way? And it's going to force you to look back over the course of the week and figure out, what did I allow to distract me? What shiny things got in my way to stop me from creating this new podcast? Did I get caught up in the name of it? Did I get caught up in where I'm going to do it? Did I get caught up in the, let's say, the technical stuff? Like, I got to have the best camera. I got to have the best mic. Because you can start a podcast literally on your phone. Just simply go to the voice memo piece and hit record. You take the podcast and you upload it to whatever platform. I use Anchor by Podcast or Anchor by Spotify, if you will. So it's just a distribution channel. But nonetheless, you can do it just like that. But if you don't have a coach, if you don't have someone just holding you accountable, you can fall off the bandwagon. You can find yourself procrastinating and making a goal that is easy incredibly hard. Also, guys, do not let the investment of money get in your way. Because again, I love telling people and challenging them with this. You have paid this price for so many other things. You're currently paying this price for so many other things. Why not invest it in your dreams? What do I mean by this? Well, if there's something that costs you $100, I'm pretty sure you've gone to the mall and bought shoes for $100. And honestly, nowadays you'd be pressed to find shoes for $100, especially if they're like a good pair. Like I like Nikes and Jordans. Hard to do that, right? Unless you're going to a Nike outlet. But even that is still hard. Guys, the money that you're spending, trust me when I say it will come back to you tenfold if you put it in the right places. And also if you follow up with the investment that you make by taking swift action, okay? So again, do not let that get in your way. Make sure you have a coach. And I will have a coach by May 1st, specifically a YouTube coach. And that's me falling on my own sword with point number 1. Main point number 3 to help you to overcome procrastination is that you have to find a system, okay? You need to operate in systems. And I'll tell you this, I have set goals that I have put off because I didn't have a system first to ensure that I could accomplish this goal. So specifically, I've had weightlifting goals. I had workout goals, if you will. And I remember when I was working a 9 to 5, which really was a 7 to 3 because I worked in a school. It was very hard for me to actually go and work out because right after work, that's when I was running my business, right? That's when I was seeing clients. So I said, hey, until I can find a surefire time to actually get started, I'm gonna have to wait a little bit because I don't want to try something and not have a system to back it up to ensure that I get it done. Once I found that system, for me, it was still getting up at 5 a.m., but because I didn't have to go to work, it gave me time to relax afterwards. Once I had that system in place, I was able to go to the gym very consistently for over the next 2 years. Changed my entire life, changed my entire body, changed my entire mindset, to be honest. But it's because there was a system in place. When you think about Amazon, even when you think about something like, let's say Domino's Pizza, right? The systems that they have in place from when an order is placed to when it arrives at your door, there's so many different processes that happens. I want you to think, with these goals that I'm setting, what system can I put in place? And here's the thing, you guys don't have to overthink. It doesn't have to be as complex. I'll tell you guys a system that I use. So when it comes to my podcasts and my emails that I do every week, Saturdays and Sundays, it's a day that I do those. I do not stop during the week to do it unless something comes up. But normally 95% of the time, I'm doing my emails and my podcasts on the weekends because that's when I'm free from clients. And that's when I can actually stop and really think and be free, kind of get into my creative mindset, if you will, right? That's the system. The way that I distribute my podcast and edit my podcast, the thumbnails for the podcast, I keep all those things the same. And only just recently, I changed the thumbnail and I've had some success with that. But the reason why I keep the thumbnail, the description, and where I post my podcast all the same is because I do not want to have to think about it when I'm approaching this task. It should be so seamless that it should feel the same as waking up, taking a shower, brushing your teeth, and put on deodorant. You do not go through a mental struggle having to do those things because you've done them millions of times, right? Hopefully. So since you've done it so many times, you don't think about it and it's easy. You're actually thinking about other things as you're doing this thing. Think about how easy it would be for you, or how wonderful it would be if you were able to think about other things on your next list, right? And this is not to encourage for you to be distracted, but think how easy or how great it would be if you could do this next task on your list. So let's say it is podcasting. Let's say you can do podcasts as easy as it is to brush your teeth. Let's say you could do public speaking as easy as it is for you to get in the shower. How would that change your life? We can get there, trust me, and I'm proof of that. Me doing these podcasts, still a little uncomfortable, but it's not where it was when I first started. And it's because I've practiced, I've been consistent. So again, find a system, guys, and you can actually ask other people who are doing the thing that you're trying to do. Ask them, what do their system look like? What do their process look like? And you can pull little bits and pieces of it. You don't have to take the whole thing, but pull bits and pieces of it, see what works, and just trash the rest and go from there. Main point number 4 when it comes to overcoming procrastination as an entrepreneur, and it's something that you may not think of, but to overcome procrastination, You want to focus on building your confidence. Let's think about the last point that I made about how easy it is for you to get in the shower, brush your teeth, put on deodorant, right? Seamless. You don't think about it. There's no hesitation. And hopefully you're not procrastinating on those things, right? Because hey, hygiene is a thing. You're only confident in those things because you've done it so many times. Now think about this. I know I'm harping on the idea of podcasting, but let's just take something different. Let's say you want to do videos, right? Let's say you want to become a content creator. Let's say you're a weightlifting person, or let's say you want to be a motivational speaker, but you want to do it still on YouTube, right? Or you want to just post videos. What you need to do is you need to do it at a consistent rate so that it feels natural. And when it feels natural, you'll be able to do it at a higher clip. What I mean by that is your quantity will increase and also your quality will increase as well. But it's only because you've gotten used to it. You know your style, you know your pitch, you know your volume, you know your way of connecting with your audience. But that only comes from practicing. And I'll also add this. A lot of people will say first that they're a procrastinator rather than they don't feel confident. People will use procrastination as a cover-up for them not believing in themselves, because not believing in yourself seems a lot worse to society, to us, to, kind of goes to that shame piece, if you will. It seems a lot, let's say, worse. I wish I had a better word for it, but it seems a lot worse than saying I'm a procrastinator, right? So people use that because that's more common. A lot of people will say, oh, I'm just a procrastinator. And what that does is it shields them from any blame. It gives them a reason to say, oh, this is why I wasn't able to be successful. This is why I wasn't able to get that document to you by Monday, like I said. It's because I'm a procrastinator. But really, it's just that you lack confidence. So what I want you guys to start doing is not necessarily believing in yourself, because that's not what I really preach. What I do want you to do is ask yourself, out of all the things that I think, out of all the thoughts that I have, which ones are the most helpful versus the ones that are the most unhelpful? It's all about following the thoughts that are going to help you to push things forward. A thought that is helpful would be something like this. I may not be good at this action now, but if I practice, I can become better, right? It's not a positive affirmation, but it's a thought that is also based in the growth mindset, but it's a thought that is helpful for me to hang my hat on. And the fifth and final point, this is one that one of my clients this week mentioned to me, but it's one that I've read about and even experienced myself. But one of the most important things to overcome procrastination is to forgive yourself for procrastinating in the first place. Think about it, guys. If you spend the next day beating yourself up because you didn't take action the previous day, guess what's happening at this moment? You're procrastinating again. And when tomorrow comes around, you're gonna look back at the last day and the day before and say, man, I've wasted now 2 days. How much of an idiot could I be? How sorry, how much of a terrible person can I be to have wasted 2 days? And as you're doing that, now you've wasted the third day. So it's this funnel that you're falling down. It's this hole that you're falling down, if you will. And one of the best things that you can do is forgive yourself. Forgiving yourself is not self-pity, but it's a strong thing. It's a strength-enhancing thing that you can do to give yourself the belief, the strength that you need to take a small action that's going to break this chain. Believe it or not, small steps does make a difference. It makes a huge difference. I tell people, these big things that you're trying to accomplish, they're gonna start off by you taking a small action. Sometimes I literally have to tell myself, Philip, just plug up the mic, just turn on the camera, just write your outline, right? And just hit this red button that says play, that says record, if you will. Doing these small things gets me ready to take this big step to do a podcast like this. But if I think that it takes a huge step to do huge things, or if I think, hey, like the bus is left, the plane is left because I procrastinated the past 2 days and now I'm not able to do this thing, then guess what? I'm gonna abandon ship and it's gonna build more into the idea of me being a procrastinator. So start forgiving yourself when you don't take action. You can even write yourself a letter. You can imagine yourself speaking to your younger self and giving them words of advice or encouragement and then buying into those words. Or one of my favorites, I gave this to one of my clients this week. Imagine someone that you look up to and having a conversation with them about some of the things that you recently have gone through, about some of the procrastination that you've recently done. So for me, this conversation would be between me and Denzel Washington. Now, I want you to think, if you told Denzel Washington, most people know him, that you've been procrastinating the past 2 days and you feel terrible, what do you think he'll say? What do you think he'll say, right? I think he'll say something along the lines of, hey, but what you gonna do today? Like, I literally think that's what Denzel's gonna say to me. He's gonna say, hey, okay, but what are you gonna do today, Philip? What actions are you gonna step to accomplish that goal? He'll tell me, hey, it happens, I've been there, but don't use that as an excuse to not try at all. So I want you to think, what would your person say that you look up to? It doesn't have to be a celebrity. It can be a friend, a family member, whoever, right? It could be your third grade teacher, right? Think about that question and then use that advice to guide you as you go and take that next step. So I'm gonna summarize the 5 main points that help you to overcome procrastination as an entrepreneur. And the first one is to make your commitments public. The second one, find a coach and give them your goals. Third, operate in systems. That is big. Fourth, focus on building your confidence, because a lot of people will use procrastination as a cover-up for not having confidence. And then fifth, forgive yourself quickly. Again, imagine something that someone you look up to would say to you about this stuck place that you're in. If you follow these 5 steps, it'll help you to overcome your procrastination and help you to quickly accomplish your goals. So make sure you subscribe to this channel. This is Coach Wells. I'm a licensed therapist, and thank you for checking us out.